So why didn't Queen like synthesizers? You're probably thinking in your head, I can think of some Queen songs that definitely have synthesizers in it, and you would be right. However, we're going to dive into the question why Queen did not like synthesizers. Here we go. All right, so this question I came up with on my own, by the way. When I first started this channel, I went through that phase that a lot of people went through where they were like, yeah, you know what? I need to come up with stuff to do at home. So I'm going to really get super into records. So I bought a record player, and it's actually pretty cool. Like, you know, we don't just listen to full albums anymore just to absorb the feeling of the full album. And I posted a video of this. I'm actually not going to encourage you to go find it because it was one of my first videos where I listened to the record, Queen, A Night at the Opera. And I gave my impression of it, just listening to it all the way through, from the first song all the way to the last. And huge surprise. It's a different experience than you would think. I always thought Bohemian Rhapsody was kind of a zany out there song. I had never listened to the album in full before, and I realized that the album itself is meant to make you feel like you're at a cohesive, completely from end to end thought out show. Not a show in that there are visuals and they're on a stage or anything necessarily, but like it's supposed to take you through a journey. And it really does. It's one thought, this whole album. My favorite song, though, on this album, actually, now I'm going to make a lot of people mad who to this day are still like, Bohemian Rhapsody is the best thing that Queen ever did. I actually really loved Prophet's song. That was incredible. I really loved that one. But I'm getting off topic here. So why do I think that Queen doesn't like synthesizers? While I was listening to this album, I was paying particular attention to everything that was written in here. And I came across something, and I thought it was funny because at the same time, I was also listening to one of my favorite Pink Floyd albums on a record at that time. This particular Pink Floyd album uses a ton of synthesizers. So this caught my eye. I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to come up to the camera. So I thought that was funny, especially their use of the exclamation point. It just says no synthesizers. So I thought, why no synthesizers? Why no, Santa? So that sent me down a rabbit hole of wanting to find out more. In their early days, Queen was known for using just traditional rock instruments, just a guitar, a bass, a drum, vocals, amazing vocals. That was really their niche. They knew what their sound was. However, in A Night at the Opera, they're starting to go for like crazy sounds. A Night at the Opera is a great testament to that because opera is not rock, and just their harmonies alone are so strange. So it's hard to believe that in an album where they're doing some weird things, they would say no synthesizers. And this kind of like is a callback a little bit to my last 3-part series. If one of the classical era composers was teleported to this era now, how likely would they be to take to using synthesizers? So I'm kind of like bouncing off of that idea with this video because here we had an amazing band who kind of dabbled in operatic styles and classical motifs. Even though they were rock, clearly at some point they were like, no synthesizers. The reason for why was kind of a difficult answer to find. I found the answer in the making of A Night at the Opera. If you put the audio commentary on disc 2 on this making of, then you'll actually hear them talking about why they felt so strongly about putting that statement there. In fact, they had even said they were going to plan to have no synthesizers for the next 4 albums. On our first album, Brian did a lot of stuff on guitar featuring specific harmony guitars, which was a fairly new thing at the time. And a lot of reviewers in England, I can quote one, Chris Welch, in The Melody Maker, a paper famous for its inaccuracy, I might add, said, "Great use of synthesizers here." And of course, it was all guitar. And that got up our noses quite a lot. I just really think that's funny. Basically, they were so insulted that this person, Chris Welch, in this music publication, Melody Maker, gave credit to a synthesizer for what were actually guitar parts. And this really put them off, and they swore off synthesizers until their 8th album, The Game, where they started using the synthesizers, specifically the Oberheim OBX. Super cool sounding synthesizer. I think you should check it out if you don't know it. I feel like that kind of answers our other question, like if we were going to take a snapshot of a composer, because you could basically call Queen composers. Like the composition is unreal on this album. What they had to put into, what they all collaborated together to write on this album is crazy. Absolutely, they were opinionated, like some of the composers we examined in the past few weeks, but they changed their minds. You know, they thought they hated synthesizers. They were insulted that people would think that their natural acquired gifts, their naturally acquired skills were a synthesized instrument. And I mean, I guess that would get anybody's noses up, but you know, they changed, and you can listen to a lot of their songs that use synthesizers. I'm not even going to tell you what songs they are. I want you to go find them, but I will tell you that you can start looking within the album, The Game. So that's it. I'm really super excited. I was finally able to share this with you because I came across this so many years ago, 2020, so many years ago. It was just perfect timing. I was planning on filming this after that last 3-part session we did for a long time, but I realized that it's still kind of in line with our what we've been studying and what we've been looking at. And I'm super excited that I did this one right after that. So if you enjoyed what we did today and where we went, I would encourage you to hit subscribe, please, because I want you to be included in the circle of people every time I release a new one of these videos. And like the video if you liked it, or don't like the video if you didn't like it. I don't know, you do you. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Bye.